In 1910, Australia's federation was just 9 years old. One key seat in the 1910 federal election was Corio, centred around Geelong in Victoria. The incumbent, Richard Crouch of the Protectionist Party, had been a Member of Parliament since it all began in 1901. He was challenged by Labor's Alfred Ozanne, an accountant. Ozanne won the seat, defeating Crouch by 1,645 votes. Crouch appealed the decision, taking the matter to the High Court in its original jurisdiction, sitting as a court of disputed returns, which is the technical name for a court resolving disputes about the validity of an election. One of the grounds was a bit silly. Crouch alleged that Ozanne had tried to bribe a voter, a Miss Maggie Connors, by offering her a new silk dress if she voted for him. The court dismissed this quickly, finding that it was never more than a joke. The other grounds were a string of complaints about the way the election was conducted, things like the arrangement of certain polling booths and suggestions that canvassers had harassed voters. The most significant complaint was that at 3 booths, the presiding officers had misunderstood their instructions, and they demanded that the scrutineers for each candidate remain inside or outside the polling place, their choice, all day. Now, the role of a scrutineer is to float around keeping an eye out on behalf of their candidate to make sure everything is conducted fairly. Obviously, any restriction on their movement prevents them from fulfilling this task. The court found that the presiding officers had indeed acted improperly, but the difficulty was that no evidence had been placed before the court to show what impact this irregularity might have had. To plausibly affect the outcome, Crouch would have needed to show that sufficient voters were affected to change the outcome. That evidence just wasn't there. Justice O'Connor said, "I cannot act upon the mere conjecture that the result of the election would have been different if the scrutineers had not been interfered with. Although it is much to be regretted that this unfortunate mistake was made by these presiding officers, I cannot see any grounds upon which I can find that that mistake was likely to have affected the election." From this case, we learn that when procedural irregularities are alleged regarding an election, it must be shown that those irregularities could have affected the outcome.